I'm Paul Daniel, and this is the Revel Propulsion shop. This is where I make mid-drive motors and batteries and sell them as kits to people that want to convert their bikes to electric. And I also do engineering consulting work and prototype development here. And I know Justin from many years ago. We went to school together at UBC. We were both in engineering school at the same time, but different disciplines. I was a pretty fit cyclist at the time, and Justin took me on a ride once, and I had no chance against the e-bike. Right now the main product's the mid-drive kit. We started building these kits about 6 years ago actually, and so the industry's changed a lot since then, but this is our kit here installed on this cargo bike. It's pretty competitive in terms of performance to the OEM built-in motors out there like Bosch and Shimano. So it mounts to your bottom bracket, and we use a torque sensing bottom bracket that mounts here. This sprocket drives your chainring. So we've got a chainring assembly with freewheel. It gives you all the advantages of a mid-drive. So the gear ratios, the efficiency, and lightweight. It's a mostly CNC'd aluminum. These covers are 3D printed nylon. ASI controller. The goal with this was to make it as smooth and intuitive as the OE mid-drives on the market. We're pretty proud of this. This is the latest generation here.
What's it called?
This, it's just called our mid-drive motor. Yeah, I don't have any creative name in that. Revel Propulsion mid-drive motor. Our battery's a bit smaller because we have to fit our battery on a conventional bike that doesn't necessarily have a lot of space, but it has enough space for a water bottle. So we use a little bit smaller battery, and we're using the LIGO, or last generation LIGO BMS. It's
3 LIGOs pretty much.
Exactly, 3 LIGOs worth of cells with 1 BMS, exactly. This is the fabrication area. We've got manual lathe and mill, and TIG welder and oxyacetylene torch, and tube bender. Over here, tube bender, and our hydraulic press for squishing things.
You've done a lot in a really tight space.
Yes.
I would say, like.
Yeah. I still want to squeeze more in here, but right now this is about all we can do. We don't have room for a CNC machine, which would be nice to have. So if we take a look in here. We've got some scooters that are getting repaired, and then a leaning trike here I've been working on. It's just still in development, a lot of work to do here, but it uses Grin's all-axle motor. It's meant to be for carrying kids and cargo. This is a prototype, and I'm kind of realizing that there's so many drawbacks with trikes that they don't outweigh the positives, so that's why I've kind of focused on two-wheel cargo bikes in the last year or so. It has quite a bit of complexity to make it feel like a bike, basically, and get it to corner like a bike, and kind of, if you're blindfolded, hopefully, feel like a bike. Because one of the main problems with trikes, of course, is they have to be quite wide to not tip over. So if you want to make something narrow, it kind of has to lean. That's the main goal here, is to kind of make it as narrow as possible with good cargo capacity and feel like a bike.
Mechanical engineering coming into play.
Exactly. But it uses Grin's all-axle motor. Ended up being the perfect motor for this type of vehicle. So small wheel vehicle where weight isn't really that big of a concern. We'll let you take it for a ride. I think in North America, with the bike infrastructure the way it is, having something small and compact like that compact cargo bike is a better option. But yeah, this is really fun to develop this. Yeah, you can totally tip it over like a bike. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool! Wow. Gotta get used to it first, but. Wow, that's so cool. I should have it in my car. I'm very sorry about your trike. Yeah, it's just a bicycle. Just think of it like a bicycle. That's it. If you lean too hard, just like a bike, you'd go over. Man, it's such a nice feel once you get used to it. and it doesn't take long.
So this is the battery test lab. So part of my my engineering consultancy, we do battery testing as well as other testing. So right here, I'm actually testing torque sensors. So this is a torque sensor testing rig here. One of the problems that I had with the torque sensors that I'm using in the kits was that the torque reading would be inconsistent over like a 10 or 15 minute period. So, and the nice thing about this is, yeah, I can start the test, leave it for 15 minutes, like walk away, come back and check the results. So I don't have to be babysitting it the whole time.
Yeah, okay, do you want to explain a little bit how it works?
Sure, it's pretty simple. The bottom bracket just gets clamped in here. And this motor drives this crankset, and I've got a weight on here to simulate the lack of smoothness of a human pedal stroke. So it kind of simulates pedaling. And then this is a motor hooked up to an ASI controller that's just providing resistance. It's just regenning into our second battery there. So this is the driving battery. That's the receiving battery, so that one gets charged. So turn on the oscilloscope, and we'll look at the signal from the torque sensor. Why is this not turning on? Because I unplugged it, of course. And then we'll turn on our regen motor here.
And that's the regen motor?
That's the regen motor.
Okay.
Yep. So that's its only job here, is to provide resistance. So then you can see on the oscilloscope, that's the torque sensor output. So that's what it's supposed to be doing. But sometimes after 15 minutes, it just slowly starts getting lower and lower and lower. And I think it's probably because the strain gauge on the torque sensor is not glued well, probably. But there might be some other gremlins in there that I'm not aware of. But anyway, so I would just leave that going for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's our pack tester down here.
Okay.
And cell testers here. So we have 8 channels of cell testing. And then this is a thermal chamber. So I've got a battery in there. It's not being tested right now, but I can control the temperature of that chamber pretty closely to kind of give consistent results. A number of customers are local and kind of hear about us through word of mouth, because we do no advertising, except I just post on Endless-Sphere. Really is the only type of advertising I do.
What's your name on Endless-Sphere?
Just Paul D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Look them up, everyone.
Yeah, we've got a full suspension cargo bike here that we developed in-house. So I'll probably be making a batch of these, probably starting at the end of the year. So this was inspired by carrying my daughter around on some really rough, bombed out roads that we have around here, and jostling all the cargo and the kid, of course. So just got a couple inches of travel on each end to smooth things out, which is really all you need on bumpy roads. So it's kind of unique that way. I'm not sure if there's any other full suspension longtails out there, midtails. So
wait, you said you developed the frame?
Yeah.
With who?
Just me. Yeah.
Oh, what's this Arbor on there? That's your
brand?
Oh,
that's my brand, and that's actually going to change. There was some copyright issues with that. So
you welded it all and everything?
Yeah, everything. Yep, everything happened here. The frame fixture is hidden away. It takes up too much space, but this is all the welding equipment, and all the tubes are mitered here. Everything, all the frame building happened here, and as well as the front rack. Basically holds third-party baskets, and it uses a few different cool technologies. So it's got 3D printed parts. So those are 3D printed stainless steel yokes for the shock, and then pieces of the swing arm are 3D printed. It saves a lot of time, and it ends up looking like a very nice, kind of more optimized than like just a purely tube welded structure. But this is a prototype. So yeah, look for kind of a redesigned, production worthy version, hopefully in less than a year. You know, it's kind of like, it's not a conventional design, so there's a lot of unknowns. So we'll do the whole suite of fatigue testing on it to make sure that it's strong enough before we build a batch. Yeah.
Maybe just need to have more kids.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be good testing. Put like 4 kids on there.
Put like 4 kids on there. Yeah. There you go. 1 in the front, 3 in the rear.
Exactly.